Do you feel like racism has affected your culture?
It's affected my life. It's affected how I grew up. It's affected. Um, it's a big part of what's affected me and how I have come to view the world.
Do you feel like you've ever treated someone differently because of their race?
All the time. I don't have white friends. I had like 2 white friends growing up.
Why is that?
Can't fathom that I'm going to not be let down because I've tried to get to know people, and eventually they're going to say something ridiculously racist, and I don't want to be around people that do that. And unfortunately, the majority of the time, white people are more comfortable being racist, in my experience. Not like subtly, but outwardly.
Have you experienced that with your family?
Yeah, every day, pretty much. It wasn't every day. It was just, whether it was something subtle and out of ignorance, or the rare occasional blatant racism, my family was always doing something that was frustrating, aggravating, or just horribly racist.
Do you feel like people treat you different because of being white?
Yeah, all the time. Everyone treats me different because I'm white. I get away with pretty much anything I want as a kid because I was white. I have a ton of white privilege, and I didn't really realize it as much growing up. Not until I was a teenager did I kind of understand that I had this ability to do pretty much anything and get away with it. And somewhere in there I realized that was a big part of that was because I was white and I could do everything, anything imaginable, and there would pretty much be almost no consequence.
What is white privilege?
It's just the fact that by being white, you're treated completely different by society, by everyone, including and especially law enforcement, or just everyone, really. Like, I never, even if I get pulled over, worst case scenario, I'm getting a ticket. I'm not getting beat. I'm not getting shot. I'm not getting my car searched for drugs. Nothing bad is going to happen to me. The very few times I'm in a car and I get pulled over, I'm usually not the one driving. And then the second a cop sees me, they're like, what are you doing with them? You know? It's funny, there's stages of white privilege. The more you fit the idea of what a white person should be, the nicer you're treated. It's just, white privilege, no matter how you live your life, exists. Even if you are poor, you have a better chance of getting a job just because of the subvertent, unconscious racism that people have. If you show up and you're every bit as qualified and they're not required to, fulfill a quota of who they can and can't hire, then the majority of the time, it's proven they're going to pick the white person, and pick the white guy specifically. So I'm very blatantly aware that I have that privilege.
Why is white privilege a bad thing?
It is part of racism. It's part of how people are treated differently. It's part of the systemic racism that keeps people in their, their racial class, really. Their caste system, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. Basically, when people are treated differently because of their race, they're not always treated badly. I mean, people of color are often treated worse, which is part of what white privilege is. White privilege is that you're being treated better because of your, the color of your skin. It's as purely racist as you can be. And when I was younger, I took advantage of that a lot, but afterward, you just become disgusted by it. And I remember all the things that I would get away with, and it's crazy to think about now and think about how I could never have done any of those things. If I wasn't white, most likely, I would have at least definitely would have got away with as many of them as I did. There's this concept of criming all white. You can do pretty much anything as long as you're white and get away with it. And it's awful. It is as racist as you can get. It's the perpetuation of racism.
Earlier you mentioned not wanting to have white friends.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this disdain for white people that you have is reverse racism?
Reverse racism doesn't exist. Racism is systemic, and there's no system built against white people. It's not like that. You can't have reverse racism. It's racism. What I mean by systemic is that the entirety of our laws and everything in our culture is created in a way that serves white people. It's not meant to help anyone but white people for the most part. And it's completely reinforced in the judicial system. It's completely reinforced by the law enforcement system, that you have a completely disproportionate amount of people of color in jail and being killed by police. And you don't have that for white people. You don't have a system of schools that segregate against white people and give them an unequal, education. And even if the rare outlier, the rare white person who happens to live in an urban community lives and goes to those schools, once they get out, they still have the white privilege and a better chance to get a better job or, do more with their lives without interruption from others. So that doesn't exist. It's not real.